Hey guys, and welcome back to the EVSG podcast. My name is Lucas, and with the NBA season just getting underway, actually, it's time to do, a season. I'll do a season preview of the NBA. But first, we're going to get into football, and I'll just give my top 5, bottom 5, basically teams I want to talk about versus teams I don't want to talk about. We're going to start with the bottom 5, which I'm actually talking about 7 teams. A couple honorable mentions. Chargers and Broncos, I think they're both solid teams. I think they're both teams that can win games. And they've been close in some, but they aren't. Got more action than most people anticipated as David Johnson. They're in the bottom 5, but they're not a team that you're really scared of. You know what I'm saying? It's not a team that you're going up against and it's like, oh, guaranteed win. But the Broncos and the Chargers, you kind of see them like, okay, well, we'll take that. Which is really weird coming from the Chargers, a team that had a lot of expectations coming in. And I think just kind of fall. Okay, next we get the Jets at 5, 5th worst team. I mean, they're just, it's weird. You know, they have, they should have a run game, and yet the run game is not working. I didn't mean to do that. Shit. With the Jets, I just don't like them. I don't think like the roster. The defense should be better than it is. Their offense should be better than it is. And it's just not. They're just a team that it'll be an Arizona first down. They don't have a bright future. I don't. They could. A couple of good drafts could change a lot of that. But they're not. That's why they're 5th in the bottom 5. Next up, we're going to go with the Redskins. They've been tantalizing close in a couple of games. They've been close. They just don't really have anything good. They're like one of those teams that are solid, but they're not good. And it's kind of weird. But, again, a lot of these teams, there's not a lot to tell because they just aren't great. However, at 3, there's a lot of talk about this team, the Falcons. Again, another team with a lot of expectations and just completely fall flat. And I'll give you the reason. First off, their defense is hurt. I'll give them a little bit of excuse for that. The defense has been hurt, it's been shaky, whatever. But their offense has been way too pass-heavy. I mean, it's that simple. You have to run the ball when you have Lindsey Freeman and Ito Smith. Feels like they're getting when they run the ball well, when Freeman has done well, when Ito Smith has done well, they got to worry a little bit about the clock. They've played well. They haven't won every game, obviously, but they've played. Their offense has been good whenever Monty Freeman is having a good game, whenever they are running the ball, or at least even in the passing before dump ball passes, which in turn are kind of like runs. And when they don't, they get blown out. Like last week.
Interception for him now here in this first half.
Other teams, I don't know. Like I said, it's just a team that I believe Matt Ryan's a good quarterback. They have a lot of weapons on offense, but their offense has been absolutely abysmal when they don't win the football. Like I said, I like Matt Ryan. He's a good quarterback. When you have him throwing 60 passes a game, it's not going to work out. The next 2, obviously the Bengals and Dolphins. The Bengals have been close in some games, that's why I'm giving them the nod. But I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter. I think you'd rather be 1 and the worst record and get your first save. Like I said, there's not much to talk about this team. Ryan Fitzpatrick has got some special. He might be able to lead the Dolphins team to a win. But like I said, I think the Bengals team is overall a better team. Alright, we're going to move on to the top teams. Let's see. 6 teams that we're going to talk about before I get into the top 5. These are definitely not anywhere. I'm going to start with the Bills. They're 5-1. Good for them. But in my opinion, they're not a top team. But here's the thing. With their schedule, they'll probably go 12-4. If they don't go 12-4, they got a problem. But if they go 12-4 like they should, I still think they're going to be the worst team in the playoffs because they don't play any. They play 4 tough games this year. They've lost 1. They are going 13-3. If they go 14-2, I will say they're a good team. Their defense is good. I won't deny that. Their offense, Josh Allen might be a future quarterback.
Because you're right, he struggled, especially
but he's not a championship leading quarterback.
I know the great ones always think to themselves,
he can run, which means he can win some games with his speed. But he's kind of like Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson is going to be a better quarterback at
scrimmage and taken down.
Anyway, I mean, like I said, Bills, I don't believe them. They could prove me wrong. I'm not going to say they won't. Next thing we're going to talk about is the Panthers. Again, a team that I like. I really like. Their defense has come on strong. Christian McCaffrey is carrying the offense. Frankly, I think they could make a dent in this year.
But it'll be third down. Big play coming up. Here's third and 10.
Now, obviously, again, it's a whole nother topic is whether Cam Newton starting comes back. I'll give him my short take on it. I think he should.
And he'll go down to the ground at the 39, and obviously that's well short of first.
It's not like how Kyle Allen has been carrying the team like Colin Kaepernick did with the 49ers a while ago. That team has just been relying on its good defense and Christian McCaffrey. That being said, if Cam Newton comes in, he struggles really badly against the team he shouldn't. And the Panthers are losing because of it.
Past the 30 to the 32.
I think you have to keep Cam on a short leash. I would say that's kind of my short take on it. But I do like the team. I like their team. All right, next the Ravens. Again, a team that I don't really believe in yet, but they have a solid team. They had a big win against the Seahawks, so I'll give them that. But they're just really inconsistent. They're not a bad team. They're a good team, but they're just inconsistent. That worries me.
Everyone else is
Lamar
trying to
Jackson
execute what they're supposed to do on offense. They're usually looking in the other direction.
He's a very good running quarterback. And you saw it this week. When he runs the football, they can win games. Like it was last year. But if he's going to rely on his passing game, he's not a passer like Russell Wilson or like Tom Brady or Teddy Bridgewater or even Patrick Mahomes. He is a running quarterback. I mean, there's no question about it. I don't like their future, but they have a team right now that could make a conference championship. But I don't think they'd have the team to beat. They're one of those teams that I don't think have a chance. I think they can play with them, but I still think they don't have the team. Next team, the Vikings. Again, they're just in the top 11. Vikings are good. Vikings are a really good team that Kirk Cousins is on. He is on a very good team. The problem is that he's been very inconsistent this year, more inconsistent than any quarterback this season. It's weird.
Right into their line of vision.
2 weeks ago, he was throwing footballs over the head of the receivers about 20 feet. The last 2 weeks, spot on almost every pass.
Now back to throw.
I don't know what to say. Vikings, if Kirk Cousins is on, they're a top 3.
7 yards.
There's no question about it. Because they have a great running game.
You got the big lead
Kirk Cousins is playing well. That running game is going to
underneath stuff, right?
And this is why you work on
they have a very good defense. One that's going to rule it all year.
Inbounds, keep the clock running. Just go ahead and bleed the game out.
Yeah, like I said,
and not much to
they're a scary team.
Maybe a yard down to the 20.
We're going to talk about the Chiefs next. I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. They're a bad defense.
See ball, get ball.
I don't believe they can win a championship. Not this year, at least.
Again, it's Johnson.
They have a bright future. I mean, obviously, they have a bright future. They'd be 6-7 on here, I think.
They're able to convert
pretty
on
easily.
third down, and that sets up a first and goal. Now, yes, a two-possession game, but a good chunk of time on the clock, so they have the ability still there to run it on second.
Heard rumors that he might
maybe
play
they
this
need
week.
to pick it up a bit.
And if I'm the Chiefs, I cannot rush him back. He has 20 years of greatness. I wouldn't bring him back and risk it.
To make sure they have a chance to win.
Now, throw to the end zone on first down, but it winds up incomplete. So the pass goes out of bounds, but he was not outside of the tackle box when he threw that. He's got to be careful.
Just outside the top 5. And I'm going to put definitively at 6 of Indianapolis Colts. They're a good team. They're scary. I think they're the second best team in the AFC. The NFC is stacked, so that's why they're 6. Or even 7 on the Vikings. I'll even
Toward the end zone, but that's going to wind up incomplete.
their defensive line has been
not only was it the right play, throwing it away
really
like that.
good, and
frankly, I think it was the only play.
Yeah, got outside the pocket, realized he had
it's one of the better ones in the league. And obviously, their offensive line is one of the best in the league. They have a great running game because of it. Colby said they've proved themselves time and time again as a quarterback that can lead a team to a championship. Their secondary, while it's hurt, it's been pretty good. And obviously, it's been helped because the defensive line has pressured quarterbacks. But I mean, they still have a good secondary, and in my opinion, once Hooker is back, and once Kenny Moore is fully healthy, I think it all come together, and that'd be very good.
The first carry now. This is Johnson, and he's upended after a gain of 2 out to the 27.
Well, we just saw a great example of what we talked about with his coach prior to the game. He's definitely one of the better linebackers at reading the play and flowing to make the stop before it turns into something big.
They probably just overlooked them.
Well, I think that's what they're going to need to do here in the first half. You've got to take some pressure off of this young quarterback, and no better way to do it than to establish the running game early.
An early task, 2 plays in. This is 3rd and 2.
Seahawks, I still think they're one of the best teams in the league. Obviously, they take a step back.
They'll look to throw. And that is incomplete. Oh, he had a defender right there with him to force.
It was like a strange kind of deal. But I still think they're one of the best teams in the league. I still think they're a team you have to watch out. At 4, I'm going to put the Packers again. I have been super surprised.
On first down, it's Johnson. And he's over midfield and into Falcon territory.
And that's one of the reasons you like to blitz even on rundowns. It confuses the blocking assignments and doesn't allow those offensive linemen to get up to the second level.
They're in the draw. Here's Johnson. And the reinforcements come in as they're going to stop him behind the line. He lost 2 there, and it's 3rd down.
Phenomenal.
I'm no offensive mastermind, but of all the guys on the field to block, you might want to stop him.
Look, I've got a very simple rule. An unblocked defender is usually your best defender, and he ended up making the play there.
And he will have a first down here at about the 40. 9 yards on the pickup there, and it keeps the drive alive.
We always talk about having to read defenses and how complicated that is. Well, this was an excellent read. Read the pressure and got rid of the football before it even got to him for a nice game.
And when they're blitzing like that, running back usually a good spot to go with a football?
Without a doubt, because he's right in your sight line or he's near you. So you're able to just get it to him easily. And once he gets in space, that's usually a good matchup for him.
The Patriots, you know it. That's the thing. The Patriots, you know that.
They'll set up to throw. Throw right side is going to be caught by Kirk. And he'll go down here at the 35-yard line. Well, that's a familiar connection right there. Christian Kirk was in the same class as Kyler Murray at Texas A&M. They played together as freshmen before Murray transferred. Kirk, though, he stayed in College Station, had a great 3-year career before being drafted 47th overall in 2018. Was having a solid rookie campaign last year, but then broke his foot in Week 13 and was shut down the rest of the way. He may try and run for this. He's going to go out of bounds, but he takes this one down just shy of the 20. Well, apart from Kyler Murray, not too many mobile QBs in this year's rookie class, but some good scrambling there to get the first.
Finally at number 1, it's the Saints. Teddy Bridgewater has been amazing. The team has been
now
amazing.
some movement before the snap. And we'll hear from our referee for the first time this afternoon.
Obviously,
Expect this from the visiting team when playing indoors, but not the home team.
They're supposed to get all the advantages, right? The home crowd's supposed to help them. They forgot where they were, perhaps.
The false start backs him up 5, 1st and 15. From the shotgun, he'll look to throw. That's complete to Edmonds, his running back. And he gets it inside the 10 to the 9. The Cardinal passing game dialed in now. First down.
Nice little nifty play for him there. Yeah, that's the ability to read a defense and utilize players that don't often get picked up in coverage easily. And I'm talking about being able to use the backside of the backfield. Because I know that.
And he is into the end zone. Touchdown, Arizona. Christian Kirk.
The question for him now is he going to stay around New Orleans until he leaves Washington? Or is he going to take the first full out and get paid. He's out of it. And that does it for the NFL. Top 5, bottom 5. Just give my thoughts on some of the teams that have come up big. Now we're going to move on to the NBA.
They'll run on first down. Johnson. And he's upended after a gain of 2 out to the 27.
They tried a quick hitter inside, but that one was swallowed up because what they're hoping, those big defensive linemen will take the bait and move laterally and open up a crease that they can run through. Didn't happen on that play.
They'll break the huddle, come up on 2nd and 8 at the 27-yard line. From the gun, a run for Johnson. 4 yards on the pickup there as it'll leave him with a third and about 4 more for a first.
When you find that kind of yardage, you couldn't be more confident as a ball carrier. And guess what? You're going to go back and tell your offensive coordinator, I'd like to keep carrying it, thank you.
Bad contracts, and they signed, in my opinion, a bad one. That being said, I think they have some prospects in the team. It could be a good team in the future. But I think they're still wrong.
Out of the gun now on 3rd down.
In my opinion, they break out.
Flushed out right. And that is incomplete.
Lead that team. PJ Washington, you just never know what's going to happen from him. I do like Zeller. I think he has a chance to really finally do something this year, but I really think Miles Bridges is the big player to watch out for next year. And then they're over-under right now at 23.5. I'm going to go ahead and put the under.
They'll come out throwing here on first down.
That one's tough.
And he finds Fitzgerald. And he's taken down but able to slip across the 35. It'll be an Arizona first down on a gain of 17. That's what we're used to seeing from him right there. Plays like that, why he's number 4 in the league in terms of receiving yardage.
Able to make adjustments all along the way. Doesn't matter where he lines up, where he releases from. Working his way into the secondary, figures out defenses and finds weak spots in order to get open.
With the Knicks.
Now on first down, he'll drop to throw it. He finds his man Johnson. And he'll lose yardage. Brought down at the 32. That'll go as a loss of 5, and it'll make this a 2nd and long. Well, where do you find that one in the playbook, Charles?
You don't. You absolutely don't. And sometimes what happens is guys want to make a big play, and they turn it into a really bad one. Sometimes you're best just to cut your losses and go down. I hope we don't see another play like that. I guarantee you the offensive coordinator, he's going to get his play sheet. He can't find it either.
A big loss there on the pass completion. And that's going to be good for another first down as the tackle's made at the Falcons' 41-yard line. From Falcon territory now, here's 1st and 10 at the 41. Here's Johnson. And the lane closes up quickly as he'll get about 3 down to the 38.
When we see those runs to the perimeter, when we see those runs to the edge, we think about big breakers, don't we? In this case, it was a modest gain, but it does open up possibilities here on 2nd down.
Here's a 2nd and 7. And the catch made by Johnson. And he's taken down inside the 30. Now, after the completion, we're going to get a timeout, an injured player. While the trainers take a look, we'll step aside.
Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. I know they just picked the best player.
Now a play fake here on first down. And he's going to be taken down. Pressure gets there back at the 39-yard line. Desmond Trufant with a sack. The corner blitz hits home.
I spent a lot of extra time preparing for this game, watching this offensive line, because they gave up 5 sacks last week in their loss. They just gave up another one now. They don't seem to be working together as a cohesive unit. Right? 4 guys might have it right, but the 5th guy is giving something up. They've got to find a way to all get on the same page.
And he'll be brought down inside the 20 at the 19. So a big gain there after going backwards, and that'll lead to a 3rd down. This will be play number 7 on the drive. 3rd and a yard. Now the first carry for Chase Edmonds. And he's going to have a first down here as he gets this one to the 17-yard line. They only get 2 there, but on 3rd and 1, that's all they needed to keep the drive going. I think you mentioned in the opening drive that these guys needed to establish the run, protect the young QB. Actually wrote that down, believe it or not. So how would you assess things so far?
I'm kind of touched that you actually wrote something like that down. I appreciate that, partner. But I do think they've been able to do that. Maybe not as effectively as they wanted to, but I think we'll see more of as this game goes along because they want to continue to take care of that young QB.
It's a 7-yard carry to set them up with a 2nd and 3.
Isaiah Thomas, I think, would be the main starter this year. I think it could be a strong.
2nd and 3.
But in my opinion, I think Isaiah
Being chased out left.
No.
That is incomplete.
He had with the Celtics, but I think he has a solid year. A good year for a team that is not great. Obviously, I think Bradley Beal will be the MVP of that team. There's really no question that he probably will be. I really like Rui Hachimura. I think he will be a stud in this league at some point, but this year probably won't be it. But I'm going to go ahead and put their over-under. It's at 26.5. I'm going to go ahead and say over. Again, a lot of these over picks it's tough. It is tough to pick them because you just don't know how some of these rookies are going to be playing. Next up, we have the Hawks at 11. I really like what the Hawks are doing. I really like their team, and I think they're at 11. I think they're just a couple of years away, just a little bit, a couple of years away. But I think when I say a couple of years away, I think they're a couple of years away from greatness. With the backcourt of Trae Young and Kevin Huerter, I think it's, like I said, that's a lot of shooting. Obviously, DeAndre Hunter was a solid pick. I got Cam Reddish later in the first round, which was insane. I think Jabari Parker. He's always been solid. I think Jabari Parker's always been solid, and I think as a starter, he can do a lot for the team, and John Collins at center, obviously. My breakout candidate for the team, I think Kevin Huerter is going to take a step forward, but I also think Jabari Parker is going to come back and kind of prove that maybe he wasn't worth the second-round pick, or number 2 pick, but he could have a Victor Oladipo-type resurrection of his career, I think. And I think I've always liked his game, like I said, but I think he finally has a chance to actually flourish. It just depends on what's going to happen, but him being a third option for that team, maybe even fourth, depending on what happens, it may be the best thing for his career. I'm just saying. Their MVP, obviously, I think is going to be Trae Young. I think Kevin Huerter could take that step forward and be the MVP, but I don't think he will. Over-unders at 33.5. I'm picking the over, which is kind of weird, at 11 in the East, but I think it's going to be right at 33. Right at 33, maybe 34. So that, again, another tough one in my opinion, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick the over because it is so low. At 10, I'm gonna go with the Pistons. And with the Pistons, obviously you have Derrick Rose coming off the bench, but I feel like he's going to be, him and Reggie Jackson might start. Maybe it's Rose and Kennard, but I feel like Derrick Rose will be the starter for that team at some point this year. Markieff Morris maybe at the 3. Right now with Blake Griffin being hurt, though, it might switch that whole thing up. Obviously Drummond, I think, is going to be the most important part for that team. I think he's going to be the MVP, and I think the breakout candidate is going to be Luke Kennard. He has the ability to shoot. I've seen him play in a couple of games, and maybe it's just when he plays against the Pacers. It might just be that, but when he plays against the Pacers, he shows he can shoot the ball. I haven't seen him play a lot. I don't watch the Pistons every day, but I feel like he has the ability to break out and be one of the better shooters in this league. So I think, like I said, that's my pick for the breakout. Over-under right now is set at 37.5. I want to pick the under, but again, these over-unders are a lot of them are really accurate, so it's tough to pick, which is obviously the point of betting. But, yeah, I'm going to pick the under for now, and we'll just see what happens. Like I said, this is a team that could do very well, a lot better than what I'm predicting right now. It just depends on who plays well, who doesn't, who's hurt. If Blake Griffin does come back strong, we'll just have to see. Next up are the Raptors at 9. I think they're going to miss the playoffs this year, but I think the step back will be good for them. I think they have again, even though they lost Leonard for really nothing, they lost to Rosen because of that. I still think they have a pretty bright future. Obviously, Siakam with him breaking out is big. Gasol is still going to be a solid part for the team, and Kyle Lowry is still a very good player. But I just don't think it'll be enough. And I'm probably wrong. But this is one of my two teams that I think they're going to fall flat a little bit this year. The breakout candidate, I'm going to go with OG. I want newbie. Like I said, it's tough to pick a breakout this year. You could pick Siakam again, but he had a breakout last year. And there aren't many breakout candidates, in my opinion. There are a lot of players on the team that could, but I just feel like OG is the most likely. And obviously he had a couple of big steps, but I think this could be finally his breakout year. And MVP, I'm going to go with Siakam. I think Kyle Lowry will also be super important, obviously, but I'm going to go with Siakam. I think he proved last year he can play under pressure. Over-under is at 46.5. Obviously, if we make them miss the playoffs, I'm going to pick the under. Hard under, 42, 41 wins. But I think it's, again, a team that could also play for first seed in the East, though. I mean, that's the thing. You just never know in this Eastern Conference this year. At 8, I'm going the Magic. I think they have a chance to really do something special. But it just depends on who plays well. Obviously, I think they're starting, Augustine and Fournier. Jonathan Isaac has a chance to go, make a breakout this year. Aaron Gordon, obviously, and Vucevic. That's a really good starting lineup, by the way. And their bench is pretty solid, too, with... Oh, shit. Shit. But their bench is pretty solid, too. The breakout candidate, I'm going to go with Markelle Fultz here. He was a number 1 pick. Remember that. There is a reason for that. There was a reason he was the number 1 pick. And I think he might finally have a chance to show why. I'm picking him. It's going to be him or Jonathan Isaac. I think one of them has to have a breakout year this year. Like I said, I do like Fultz. He's had to work hard to get to the spot he's at. And I think eventually by the end of the year, he probably will be starting for this team. That's my pick. At MVP, I'm going Aaron Gordon. I think Aaron Gordon was one of the most important players for the team last year. Obviously, I know Vucevic had a monster year last year, but I think Aaron Gordon, his ability to shoot the three, his ability to be active on both ends of the ball, sides of the ball, is going to be super important. At 7, I'm going Nets. I don't really like this team because I don't like the fact that there are a lot of good players on this team with Kyrie there. Obviously, Kyrie is a very good player. I'm not going to stop that. I'm not going to say he's not. But the problem is that when you have a lot of young talent like the Nets, it's tough to have a player like Kyrie on there. You saw it with the Celtics. It didn't really work out. This year with the Nets, I don't think it's going to work out as well as they want. Obviously, when KD comes back, I think they'll mesh pretty well, and I think the players around them will take steps towards helping. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to work out this year. I think they're going to win more games than what the over-under has at 43.5. But I do not believe that they're a threat to win the East. At the breakout candidate, I'm going to go with Karis LeVert. He had a really good year last year before getting hurt. I think he's going to take that to the next level this year. I think he's going to be really important. The MVP of the team, obviously Kyrie's the easy pick. I'm going to go Jared Allen. I think he's going to be super important defensively. He's going to hold down the court, I guess. He's going to get a lot of blocks. He's going to be super, like I said, super important defensively. And I think he could, if you get some mismatches for him, he could be very good on the offensive end. At 6, I'm actually going to go with the Bulls. I like their team this year. Obviously, last year did the same thing with them. I thought they were going to be good, and they fell completely flat. But this team's even better. And obviously, last year, Lauri Markkanen was hurt most, if not all, the year. But I think Kobe White's going to be a really good player in this league. I don't think he's going to win Rookie of the Year this year, but I think he has the potential to. It just depends on with Zion and Jay Morant, obviously. But Zach LaVine, they got Otto Porter, Markkanen, and Wendell Carter. That's another really good starting lineup. And their bench, with Thad Young on the bench, I mean, that's just another player. And you got Chris Dunn, you got I think Thomas Satoransky, if I'm correct. That's a couple of good point guards off the bench. You got Thad Young, like I said. This team has a lot, and it can play for the playoffs. I don't know if it will. Obviously, I think Wendell Carter is going to be the breakout player of the year for them. I think he's going to finally take that step forward. He had a good year last year. I think it's just going to improve at a point where it's still going to be considered a breakout. I think Zach LaVine will be the most important player for the team at MVP. Their over-under is at 32.5. I'm definitely hitting the over. Even if they miss the playoffs, I think they'll have more than 32 wins. They're 33, technically. But, like I said, they're at 32.5. I like that to be, like I said, I like to pick over that, for sure, for them. At 5, I'm picking the Celtics. I like their team. I do like their starting lineup with Kemba, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Hayward, and Cantor. I mean, that's a solid lineup right there. I think they're going to be better than probably what I'm picking, honestly. But I do have them at 5 just because I like the other 4 teams a lot in the East. A couple of risky picks, but their breakout candidate, I think Hayward's going to have another step forward. I think he's going to... I don't think Kyrie worked out for him. I think he kind of hurt his shots per game. I don't think Kemba's going to help a lot. But I think, like I said, Gordon Hayward, I think he finally gets back to the form he was at once. That's why he's my breakout candidate. MVP, I'm going Kemba. Kemba earned this contract. He earned the team. He earned being able to leave the Hornets for a team that can make the playoffs. I love to see what he can do here. And even though I'm saying a lot of good things about the Celtics, their over-unders at 48.5. I'm going to hit the under. I think I would hit the under even if I had them at like 3, because I just don't think they're going to win that many games. But they're a good team, and I think a team to watch out for because they could surprise a lot. I think they could make a run of the Eastern Conference if everything goes right. At 4, I'm picking the Heat. It's a risky pick. It is a really risky pick, but I think Jimmy Butler is going to help that team a lot on defense. I think Justice Winslow, I guess at point guard, I think that's a good fit for him. I think Tyler Hero could be a very good rookie and a very good potential player. He's proven to be a solid player. Bam Adebayo finally gets a starting role, or he kind of got a starting role last year, but we won't talk about that. But I do think a weakness of Kelly Olynyk starting is, if he starts, he may not start. I don't really know what they're planning on doing. But if he is, I think that's a big weakness that they need to hopefully fill by the trade deadline. I think Justice Winslow is going to have a breakout year, though. I think he's set up to have a really good year. And if he does truly start at point guard, like I said, I like that. I like the thought of him at point guard. I think it could work. And it could work, with their team. I think, obviously, they think their MVP is going to be Jimmy Butler. Their over-unders at 43.5. I'm hitting the over, obviously, with them at 4. I think they'll be over no matter what they end up getting in the East. But I'm going to go ahead and put him at 4, like I said. I think the regular season's going to be kind to him. At 3, I'm going with the Pacers. This one's also a very risky pick. They have a lot of good players in this team. I think also re-signing Sabonis is a massive plus for him. The question is it going to fit? Are players like Brogdon and Warren going to come in and play well? Is Vic going to come back healthy? Are Turner and Sabonis going to be able to coexist together on the floor? Is what's his name? Yeah. Jeremy Lamb. Shit. I don't want to stop it. I think those are questions that are going to be answered pretty soon. Especially with Vic being out, I think. It's a question that'll be answered, like I said, beginning of the year. Over under, I'm going to go 46.5. I'm not going to go for it. It's at 46.5. I'm going to go with the over. I just like their team. Like I said, I'm predicting it's going to work out, but like I said, it could go horribly wrong. So I'm saying it's a team that you don't really want to bet on because the possibilities that could happen are iffy. think MVP for this team is going to be, I think, Oladipo when he comes back. But I think Miles Turner is someone you have to watch out for. His ability to shoot the ball can't be understated. His effect on the defensive end is amazing. I think it's going to be another step up for him. I think he could also be, like I said, one of the most important players on this team. Again, Sabonis also going to be super important. Those three, Vic, Sabonis, and Turner, going to be super important for this team. At number 2, I'm going to go with the Bucks. I mean, at this point, I think it's kind of a crapshoot between the Sixers and Bucks. Obviously, they're one of the best 2 teams in the East. I'm going to put them at 2. I just think in, like, the regular season. It doesn't really mean anything for the playoffs. I mean, maybe it does, but, we'll figure that out later. I mean, for this team, they already have all their established players. They're good. Obviously, Giannis is going to have another great year. Chris Middleton's going to have another great year. Eric Bledsoe's still going to be Eric Bledsoe. Brook Lopez is still going to shoot threes. So, picking a breakout player for this team is kind of tough. I picked Pat Connaughton because it's the most likely candidate. So, I just went with him. I don't really think they'll have a big breakout player. Maybe they'll have one that I can't even see right now. But MVP, obviously, is going to be Giannis. There's no question for that team. It's going to be Giannis. Their over-unders at 57.5. I'm going to go ahead and hit the under, but like I said, I think they'll be close to that, so it's another tough one. And at number 1 is the Sixers, obviously. I mean, their starting lineup is just insanely good. You have Ben Simmons, Josh Richardson, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, and Joel Embiid. I even forgot they still had Tobias Harris. I thought they lost Harris and Butler, but then come back to learn they didn't, so I really like this team. I think, according to what I've heard, is that Ben Simmons, obviously, is that Ben Simmons is starting to shoot threes. And if he can do that, I think it adds a whole other dimension to their team. I think that's one of the biggest things they need from him, is to be able to shoot threes. Otherwise, he kind of gets lost in that team. Their breakout player, I've heard a lot of good things about Matisse Thybulle. We'll just see, obviously. Defensively, I hear he's great, and again, it's one of those teams that there are a lot of already established players here. I mean, I guess you could pick Josh Richardson, but he's been a very good player. I don't think he's going to play any better, sort of say. But like I said, I'll go with Thybulle again. Obviously, he's a rookie, but we'll have to see. MVP, I'm going to pick Ben Simmons. Like I said, if he can shoot the 3 ball, I think he'll be the best. He'll even give himself a reason to be an MVP candidate just overall. And I'll talk about that later for sure. So, like I said, I like the Sixers this year. I think they'll be the number 1 seed here in the East. In the West, now we're going to move over to the Western Conference, and I didn't just mean to brush over it. But, like I said, in the West at 15, I'm going to put the Suns. I mean, they're a solid team, obviously. I see them as the worst team in the West, not the East. I didn't like them signing Rubio for the money he had, but I mean, I like Rubio as a player. I definitely do. And their starting lineup isn't bad. I mean, they got Rubio, obviously got Devin Booker, Kelly Oubre, Sarge Naden. I think Kelly Oubre's bound for a breakout year. He's consistently gotten better, and last year when he was on the Suns, he played the best that he's played in his career. So I think that mold will continue, and I think he'll be one of the better players for that team. The MVP form, I'm gonna go with Devin Booker. I mean, this one's kind of pretty obvious. I think anyone that would be covering the Suns or any team would understand that Devin Booker is the most important player for that team, and if he is not the MVP, they're probably going to win 5 games. No offense to the other players. I'm just saying he's that good that he carries into that many wins. Their over-unders at 28.5. I'm just going to put the under, not because I think they're a team that if they were playing the Eastern Conference, they'd have more than 28 wins, 29 wins, or whatever. But in the Western Conference, I just don't think they'll get the wins. I think that, like I said, the West is more tough, and I definitely realize that going through this. At 14, I'm putting the Timberwolves. They're a team that should be better than what they are. And that's what happens every year. They should do better than what they have. I don't know. I mean, there's not much to talk about this team, honestly. I mean, they still have Jeff Teague starting. They still have Wiggins. They still have Cat. They have Covington. I mean, they're a team that I don't watch much, and they're a team most people probably don't watch much. I mean, picking a breakout player for this team is it's a tough one, but I went with Wiggins. I think he's had his decent career. I think people give him hard time for being the number one pick and getting the money he has, but he's not been a bad player. But I think this year he finally breaks out and proves to the team, proves to people that he maybe not worth that money, but he has the ability to play and be a starting player in this league. And MVP obviously is going to be Karl Anthony Towns, though. But after those two players, I don't think that team's really going to have much. Obviously, Jeff Teague is going to be Jeff Teague. Obviously, Robert Covington's going to be Robert Covington. But their bench is short. They don't have a lot of proven players. Their over-under's at 35.5. I'm definitely putting the under in that one. I just don't think they'll get those wins. At 13 with the Thunder, again, another team that actually, looking at their starting lineup, isn't bad. When you go from Chris Paul to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Terrence Ferguson, Danilo, and Steven Adams, it's not a bad starting lineup. I will say that. Problem is that they have absolutely no bench right now, and it's going to be tough for that team. I think their breakout player this year is going to be Shai. I think he'll continue. He had a really good rookie year. I think he'll continue that upward slope as long as he gets the time. That's why I put him at shooting guard, so that way he does get the time. It just depends on what happens, obviously, with Chris Paul. And their MVP, it'd be easy to say Chris Paul or Danilo. I'm going to go with Steven Adams. I think he's always been one of the best players on that team, even when they had Harden, KD, and Russ. No, they didn't have Harden with them, but even when they had KD and Russ, even when they had Russ and PG, he was still that one centerpiece that was always there, always good, and I think he'll continue that and finally be the best player of the team. Their over-under is at 31.5. I'm going to put the over. I like the team better than a lot of people do. Definitely looking at it. But again, their bench is very, very weak. I think that's one problem for them, especially. And number 12, I'll go with the Grizzlies. I like what they're doing. I really do. Obviously picking Jim Morant, getting Brandon Clark even in the draft. Those are two solid picks, as Clark's proven himself pretty well. Valanciunas at center, still one of the most underrated centers in the league. I just think they'll be better than, what people are giving them credit for. I think their breakout player will be Brandon Clark. Kind of with Fabio, I've heard a lot of good things, seen a lot of good things. Obviously, he won Summer League MVP, but I just think he'll be a good player. He looks like he'll be a good player. I think he'll be a good player. I think their MVP is going to be Jaren Jackson. I think he's going to have another good year. I think he's going to improve on his year last year, his rookie year. I think he'll be super important for that team. The over-under is at 27.5. Obviously, I'm going to hit the over. I just hit the over with the Thunder, and they're lower. So, and I think Morant will have another great year, too. I mean, you could probably put him as breakout player, too, but I just feel like he's expected to have a good year. So it's kind of a different thing. So next up are the Mavericks at 11. Obviously, they have Doncic and Kristaps. But honestly, after that, they got Tim Hardaway, so they got some scoring. But again, their bench is, they have a lot of good point guards. They got DeLon Wright, they got Jalen Brunson, they got JJ Barea. They got a lot of good guards. But their big man depth is very weak, and I don't think they're going to hit 40 wins, which is their over-under, obviously. I just don't think they're going to do as expected. I don't know if Doncic and KP can carry that load enough to bring him into a playoff spot in the West, especially. I think their breakout player is going to be DeLon Wright. Again, they have a lot of players that you could say could break out, but I just think DeLon Wright's getting starting minutes, at least in the preseason. So I think he will have an opportunity to break out, and I think he will. Their MVP, I'm going to go Doncic. I think he's, even in his second year, he's one of the best players in the league already. It was a great pick by the Mavericks, and they're trending in the right direction. I'll say that. But I still think they need a couple of either good drafts or good free agencies, and they need to make sure that they keep Doncic and KP for the long haul. I don't know why I said that twice. Either way, solid team, but I just don't think they're as good as advertised. At 10, this one's kind of a crazy pick. I'm going with the Rockets at 10. And again, if they're in the Eastern Conference, I'd say they're a top 4 seed easy. That's the thing. I don't like Westbrook and Harden. Obviously, Chris Paul and Harden worked out, and I think it can work out, and that can be proven so wrong. But even past that, I think Westbrook and Harden will work out to an extent. Like, they won't be perfect. I don't think they'll be as seamless as Chris Paul and Harden. I don't know how they made it like that, but I don't think it'll be as seamless. And by the end of it, who knows if it was seamless or not. But either way, I mean, the team behind them is not as good as the Rockets team that almost made the championship. I think Eric Gordon will start at the 3. I'm not really sure. P.J. Tucker, Clint Capella. Clint Capella is not the same as he used to be. P.J. Tucker is not the best option at number 4. Their bench is very weak. They have almost no defense other than, some of their starters. I don't think they're really set up to make a deep run. Nonetheless, I don't think they're set up to win the championship. I don't think they're set up to make the playoffs. Nonetheless, make a championship run. So it's just something to watch out for. I think they could obviously make the playoffs, but even if they do, I think it'll be a 7 or 8 seed. I'm serious about that. I just don't think they have a better team than the Spurs, the Pelicans, the Warriors. I just don't think they have a better team than them. And it's nothing against Harden and Westbrook. I think they'll still get theirs, obviously. I just think it's the team behind them. The best breakout candidate on that team, Ben McLemore. There are a couple others I could have picked, but I think Ben McLemore has the chance to finally do something. I don't even know if he'll get any minutes, but he's played well in the preseason. I will say that. He played well in the preseason when he got opportunities. He hasn't been a bad player in his career. He just hasn't been a good shooter, but he hasn't been a bad scorer when he's had opportunities. I think if he gets the opportunity, he can break out for sure. Their MVP I think, is going to be Harden. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious it'll be Harden. But you never know. Westbrook could take that over. Their over-under is at 53.5. Obviously, putting them out of the playoffs, I'm going to hit the under. I think even if, like you said, they still win the playoffs, I'd still probably hit the under. It'd probably be the 3 seed and still hit the under, honestly, because that's how competitive the West is. It's hard to pick some of these overs for some of these bigger teams in the West because it's just, you're not going to get those easy games that you have in the East at like 4 times. You know what I'm saying? At 9, I'm going with the Kings. I like their team. Their starting lineup, in particular, is very good. Their bench is kind of iffy at some parts, but I think, like I said, they have a really good team. De'Aaron Fox is looking to be the big guy on the team, or even Buddy Hield. Both of them are Buddy Hield, obviously after his first year, kind of struggling. His last 2 have been great, and he's looking like he could be set for another big one. De'Aaron Fox, obviously, has impressed everybody. I think their breakout player, though, you could look at Bagley. I think it'll be Bogdanovich. he set himself up to have a big year. So we'll just have to see. But MVP, I think, is going to be De'Aaron Fox. I just think he's the most important player on the team. I think he'll prove to be this year. Maybe it could be Buddy Hield. I mean, obviously you can make arguments for Hield. Their over-under right now is at 37.5. I'm going to put the over just because I can. Putting them at 9 in the Western Conference. Obviously, they're going to be over 37.5. At 8, I'm thinking the Pelicans make the playoffs. I think it's going to be barely, obviously. But I think the Pelicans have a bright future ahead of them. You look at their team, and it's scary how good they are. You got Lonzo, Drew, Ingram, Zion, and Derek Favors. I'm assuming is going to be the starting lineup. Some iteration of that. Obviously, Zion's hurt. One thing I kind of want to look at with the Pelicans, obviously, was Zion. One of the biggest stories of the offseason. And I can touch on this later, but I don't want to see Zion hurt for his career. And that's what scares me. I'm picking the Pelicans at 8, assuming Zion will be healthy after his surgery, after he had surgery, when he comes back. Because I don't think they have the playoff team if he isn't there. But we'll, obviously we'll just have to see. And like I said, I don't want to see him hurt for his whole career. He's one of those players that has the ability to be something special if he can stay healthy. Look at Derrick Rose. And Derrick Rose is still a really good basketball player. I'll say that. I think their breakout player, though, this year is going to be Ingram. I think he finally has a chance to flourish under, a new situation, not under LeBron. I think last year when he played without LeBron, at least the first time LeBron went out, he was pretty good. He was very good. He was very good, scoring at least. So his defense definitely needs improving. Obviously, I think that's one of the big things that with his agility, with his length and arms, he should be a better defender. And I think that's something they'll definitely work on because he has the ability to be a very good defender, the ability to be a very good scorer, the ability to be a very good player. And I think that can finally happen in New Orleans. Because, obviously LA has had, at least the recent history, the one I've been watching, they've had a long history, or a long problem in not being able to develop talent. It was true for Julius Randle, it was true for D'Angelo Russell, and I think it'll be true for Brandon Ingram too. Obviously, I think Alonzo, he still played well, because Alonzo is just at the base a very good player. I think he'll also have a kind of a breakout year as well. So, just things to watch out for. But yeah, I think they'll definitely make I think they'll make the playoffs. I think their best player right now, Drew Holiday, the one that's been there. 4 of those 5 starters are new players for this team. I think he's the one consistency. He's going to be the most important player for that team. Over-unders at 39.5. They're not going to make the playoffs with 40 wins, or with 39 wins. I'm hitting the over. At 7, I'm going to pick the Warriors. I've heard a lot of people talking about how the Warriors suck now. They're still a good team. They still have Steph. They still have D'Angelo Russell. They now have D'Angelo Russell, and they still have Draymond. They still have a solid team. And I still think they'll make the playoffs for sure. And I know a lot of people still think they will. I think like I said, they're better than what people are giving them credit for. That being said, I still think Klay Thompson is a bigger loss. I think it's a really big loss for them. And I think next year they could be a very good team. Now, I don't know if they'll keep D'Angelo Russell and move him for something else, but I think you watch out for him. I'm just saying. I think next year could be a very good year for him. I think they're a breakout player. It could be Glenn Robinson. He's starting. And in my opinion, he was really solid for the Pacers. Obviously, he moved on and wasn't the same player. But I think he's someone who could break out. But I think the biggest breakout candidate is obviously Cauley Stein. He's finally going to get a chance to start when he's healthy. Or not that he hasn't started before, but a chance to start for a playoff contending team. Yeah, I think he has a chance to finally break out. I don't even know who he played for. Was it the Kings last year? Did he play for the Kings last year? I don't even know. Their MVP, Steph, obviously. If Clay was here, I'd probably pick Clay, just because his defense can't be understated. But he isn't, so. Their over-unders at 47.5. I'm going to go ahead and hit the under right now. But we'll just have to wait and see. They could definitely be over that, though. They could definitely get the over. I mean, when I'm picking the under, I think they'll be right at 47. So that means they could get 48 just one game. So it's a tough one for a lot of these, for sure. At 6, I'll go with the Spurs. I like what they have there, and with Greg Popovich there, I mean, no matter what team they have going, they always have a chance to make the playoffs. I think they got a bright future too, even though they have some aging pieces in Rudy Gay and Aldridge. They still got DeRozan, they still got Murray, they still got Derek White off the bench. They got Lonnie Walker coming off the bench, and I think he'll finally have a chance to do something. And I think they still got Jakob Poeltl, and I mentioned him earlier, breakout player. I think Lonnie Walker's gonna have that year. I don't think he'll start at any point in this year. Maybe he will for Rudy Gay, but I think he's gonna have a nice little breakout year. You know, be able to score for him, be able to maybe move the ball when they need to, play some solid defense. I think he'll be a big piece off that bench. MVP, their best player, DeRozan. I mean, you could make a case for Aldridge, obviously, but yeah, I mean, I'm just going with DeRozan. Moving up to top 5, I guess, the Blazers are at 5. I've always underestimated them, so I'm trying not to do that this year. I just think there are 4 teams with better rosters than them in the West, and I think that's shit. I have something to watch out for. So they could definitely do something dangerous. So I think you have to watch out for them. With Lillard and McCollum, I mean, you're going to win some games right there, just with those two. They got Rodney Hood in starting lineups. That's more shooting. I'm assuming they could put Lasagna in there. We'll just have to see. They had Zach Collins, who's been really solid, and since Nurkic won't be coming back this year, they brought in Whiteside. I think he's on an expiring contract too, which even adds to it. Maybe it's 2 years left. I'm not sure, but. So that's a really solid pickup right there. I think Mario Hezonja set up to break out too. You know, he doesn't have as many expectations as he did coming in. He played well for the Knicks last year. I think he has a really good chance to do something special this year. Maybe not break out and score 30 a game, but I think he has a chance to really break out. Their MVP, I think, is going to be Damian Lillard. I don't have to think that. I know it'll be Damian Lillard unless he gets hurt. So. Number 4 in the West, I'm going to go with the Lakers. I don't think they have a team built to win a championship this year. I just don't think they have that. I don't think they have the pieces around LeBron and Anthony Davis. Maybe with DeMarcus Cousins if he had a kind of throwback-esque type year. But again, I just don't think they have the pieces. They could get higher than a 4 seed. I just don't think they have the pieces to beat a Clippers team or a Jazz team or a Nuggets or even a Trailblazers. I don't know if they have the pieces to really win an extended series. Hell, they could even lose to the Warriors. I mean, that's just kind of the thing I'm looking at. Obviously, LeBron, obviously Anthony Davis are going to do great things, but I don't know. That was LeBron's first year not making championships, so maybe he got reinvigorated. Maybe he's coming back for an insane year. Who knows? And it's another one of those teams without a lot of breakout candidates. JaVale McGee had his last year. This year, I'm just going to go with Alex Caruso. He's played well. I don't know. I just don't know who else to pick. An MVP, I think the best player is going to be Anthony Davis. Like I said, LeBron could come back with an insane year this year. I don't know, but I'm going to go with Anthony Davis. Yeah, I mean, over and under right now set at 50.5. I still think we get over that, though. I think there's going to be a lot of big winners up top. I think I'm just going crazy. I think I'm picking too much overs, but oh well. Whoa. Moving on. At number 3, the Utah Jazz. A team that you look at their roster and it's just insane how good they are. It's like, how did this happen? Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell. I don't know how they're going to start. I mean, you could throw in Ingles there, but I think the best case for them is to make sure Bojan's at the 3 position. He's not set to guard at 4. He's not set to play at 4. I mean, it depends what kind of offense they run. Sure, they could run an offense where him at the 4 just means basically he's another 3. But I think him at the 3 is the best case option. And you could throw Ingles out there at the 4, but I think Jeff Green would probably be the better. He's an actual interior defender. Obviously, Gobert at the 5. Who knows? But moving on, I think their breakout player this year is going to be... I think it's going to be, honestly, Emmanuel Mudiay. I think he's set up to have a really good year. So, we'll just have to see. Obviously, who knows? But, I think he's set up to have a really good year. MVP for him, I think, is going to be Donovan Mitchell. I think he's set up to have a really good year, especially with Conley there in the backcourt and Bojan there as well. It's going to be tough for teams to double team him or to really focus him, which they did last year, and that's why he had kind of a down year from his rookie year. But I think this year he's set up to have another great year. Their over-unders at 53.5. Like I said, I'm going with the over. I don't know what to say there. You might as well hit it while you can. Nuggets are up next. Good team. Their starting lineup is really good. You get Jamal Murray, Gary Harris, Will Barton, Millsap, Jokic. Again, a lot of these lineups are just lineups I would choose, so I could be very wrong. But anyway, like I said, they're looking really good. It's just a team of... It's just a good team. There's not much to watch. Obviously, Jokic is insane. He's one of the best players in the league. Jamal Murray is getting to be one of the best scorers in the league. I think Gary Harris is still vastly underrated. Definitely a team that I think could maybe make a push at the championship. I think you gotta watch out for Michael Porter Jr. to break out. I think he has the ability to. He's one of those players that he's been hurt for 4 years at this point, and he just hasn't had a chance. And I think if he gets an opportunity, he's gonna have a really good year. So I think he's someone to definitely watch out for. MVP for him, I'm gonna go with Jokic. Not really a tough pick. He's the most important player on that team. He's a triple-double machine. And some nights he's not a Westbrook triple-double machine, but he's a guy who will get triple-doubles. And someone who's really good you have to watch out for. Again, their over-unders at 52.5. Obviously, I just picked over for the Jazz at 53. They're going to be over. I think a lot of these, they're going to be right there. Like you could see Lakers get 51, Jazz get 54, Nuggets get 54, Clippers get 55. Launch room by number 1, but obviously number 1 is going to be the Clippers. I think a best case scenario for them is if they start Montrezl Harrell and Zubac. Obviously, you may want to save one of them for the bench. I don't know how they want to do it. I haven't got to watch them in the preseason, so I don't know how they're running lineups out there. Obviously, PG's out for the first month, something like that. I still think they're the best team in the West, though. I still think, Paul George and Leonard, it's not just their offense, though. You look at the defensive lineup of Patrick Beverley, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Montrezl Harrell, and Zubac. That's really, really, really good defensively. That is going to be a tough team to play against. They're going to harass teams vastly. And the biggest breakout candidate on their team, someone I've liked for a little bit, Mfiondu Kabengele. I think he's someone who, again, one of those players that if he gets the opportunity, he's going to show up, show out. Someone to watch out for. Now, a lot of these players will probably just phase out in a couple of years, but I think he has a chance to really break out and actually do something. Say if he gets a chance off the bench. Their MVP, obviously, it's going to be Kawhi Leonard. I don't think they said unless he gets hurt. All these predictions are assuming no injuries. So I'm just going to go with Leonard. They're over under. I forgot to write it down, but I'm pretty sure it's at 53.5 as well. no matter what it's at, it's going to be an over. The highest one in the West is 53.5, so obviously I'm just going to hit the over. Don't worry about it. Well, that's the regular season predictions. Still got award winners, and we'll move on to those right now. MVP, I'm going to go with Giannis again. Or not again. But I'm going to go with Giannis. I think he'll win it. I don't know if he'll be able to shoot threes this year. I'm not gonna wonder, but it's something that he's definitely added to his game. So if he can do that, he'll be the best player in the league for about 25 years. Dark horse MVP to watch out for. I'm gonna give a dark horse for each award. A dark horse MVP to definitely watch out for is Ben Simmons. I think he has the ability, and if he's able to extend his game and shoot threes, there's no reason he shouldn't be able to win it. Rookie of the year next. This is the one that I'm going to assume injuries, because, I mean, the easy pick's obviously Zion. But let's just say he's hurt. He's hurt for about half the year. He plays well for him. Plays well for the Pelicans, gets them into the playoffs, but he's not really eligible for the Rookie of the Year. I'm going to go with Jay Morant. I love Morant, and if you're the Grizzlies, you had to be happy to get him. And I think he could just have almost as good as a career as Zion, even, stats-wise. Obviously, they're not the same player at all, but the dark horse for that, I believe the dark horse for that award is his running mate, Brandon Clark. Again, just someone to watch out for. There are a lot of dark horse picks, though. When you're talking about rookies, you just never know. You never know how someone's going to adjust to the pro game, i.e. Kyle Kuzma, Malcolm Brogdon, just a couple of players to think about. Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to go ahead and pick the player who should have won it last year, Miles Turner. Like I said, he led the league in blocks by a lot. I mean, he's just such a defensive anchor. He should have won it last year. I think he'll win it this year. I think he'll finally get that. And just throwing a dark horse out there. Obviously, Gobert's not a dark horse, so I'm not going to pick him. But I'll go with Jared Allen, another Texas guy who's a really good shot blocker. Maybe he turns it on this year, especially with someone like Kyrie out there with him. And, big offense. Maybe it translates to his defense. Coach of the Year, I'm going to go ahead and pick Brett Brown. I just think he'll lead to the Sixers to the first seed in the East. I think he'll get it. Dark horse for that, I think it'll be Quinn Snyder. Because, with the Jazz team, with how good they're supposed to be, you never know. They could sneak into first place in the West. I don't think they will. I think they have better chance of falling down than do falling up, but we'll have to see. Next up, most improved player. I'm going to go with Brandon Ingram. I think, like I said, he's a big breakout year. Like a big, big breakout year. One of the best scorers for that team type of deal. Like I said, just you got to watch out for him. I think he'll win most per player pretty easily. Dark horse for that, though, I'm going to pick Lonnie Walker. A couple of big breakout candidates that I talked about earlier, and I think they'll have big chances to do something big. 6th Man of the Year picks. Lou Williams. He'll probably win it this year. I don't see how he won't. He'll come in and still play 25, 30 minutes, scoring big. He's probably starting right now. But once PG comes back, I doubt he'll be a starter. So, unless he is, then my dark horse pick scares me because I'm picking someone who probably should be starting this year, but he may not. I don't know. Spencer Dinwiddie, if he does come off the bench, I think he'll definitely have a big chance to compete for that. Thing is, I don't know how they're going to play that. There's the awards. I'm going to go give a couple of dark horse picks just for each conference to win it. In the East, I'm picking the Pacers. In the West, I'm picking the Jazz. A couple of teams that, are just always, not always, but teams that are good, especially right now. But honestly, if you're not one of the top 2 seeds in the East especially, you're not really a confident pick. If you're not the Sixers, you're not the Bucks. People aren't picking you. In the West, if you're not the Lakers, the Clippers, or the Nuggets, or even Trailblazers, they aren't picking you. I think the Jazz are someone that you have to watch out for. I don't know if the Jazz are really a dark horse pick. The thing is that, honestly, there's about, in my opinion, there's like 3 teams that can compete for the West. Maybe 4. And the Jazz are one of them. So, now we're going to move on to playoff predictions. And these are just based on where I put them in the regular season, obviously. It's tough to do playoff predictions when you don't know who's actually in the playoffs or where they're going to be. But we're going to go ahead and do it anyway. So in the first round of the East, it's set up to be Sixers Magic, a Sixers Magic confrontation. I'm going to pick the Sixers in 5. I think the Magic will take one. I never pick sweeps. I probably should, but I'm not. I think the Magic will take one. Moving on next, we got the Bucks versus the Nets. I think the Bucks will take that in 6. I think Kyrie, he'll be good enough to maybe take a game or two, but I still don't like Kyrie for that team. I still think they'd be better off without him. They could have had D'Angelo Russell. I would have rather had Russell than Kyrie. He's a better, I don't want to say team player, but that's kind of what I'm getting at. But I think he's better for that team. Just the way they were going. Next matchup will be the Pacers and the Bulls. I'll take Pacers in 6. Again, it's really just about who I take, not how much I take them in, because at this point I just have no idea. Like, you're getting down to the nitty-gritty. And if I get these exactly right, I should be a gazillionaire. Next up, the Heat and Celtics. I'm going to pick the Celtics here. Slightly an underdog, probably not. I'll take the Celtics in 7. I think they'll take it, and I think they'll run with it. They'll run with it. In the West, the first matchup, the Clippers and the Pelicans, the 1-8. I'll take Clippers in 5. Not much to say about it. I mean, it's going to be a lopsided matchup. But you never know. Pelicans could really show out. I mean, if they're going to show out, this would be the game. This would be the series. Nuggets and Warriors, I'll take the Nuggets in 6. Again, a lot of these isn't really a lot to talk about. I've already talked about both teams. I like the Nuggets better. Jazz and Spurs, I'll take the Jazz in 5, probably 6, honestly. I don't know why I put 5, but I'll probably take them in 6. Lakers and Trailblazers, I'm going to take the Blazers in 6. It'd be a 7-game series if the Blazers were at home, but I think they'll close it out Game 6 at home and get the Lakers out in the first round. In the second round, in the East, Sixers and Celtics, I'll take Sixers here, and we'll say 6. Pacers and Bucks, I think the Pacers are going to push them to the brink, but I don't think they'll be able to take it. I don't think they'll be able to finish it off. I think the Bucks take it in 7. In the West, you get the Clippers and Blazers. I'll take the Clippers. Jazz and Nuggets. I'm going to take the Jazz here. And again, they close it at home in 6. Kind of how the Trailblazers did it against the Lakers. Conference championships, Sixers and Bucks. I'm taking the Sixers. I think both these go to 7 too. And Jazz versus Clippers. I think the Jazz, again, push them to the brink, but can't finish it off. I think Clippers in 7. And then Sixers versus Clippers. I'm taking the Clippers. I'm going to say in 5. Because I just think it's going to be one of those things where they just have their number. You know what I'm saying? So they just have their number. But I definitely watch out. I think it'd probably be more closer to 6. And that's about it for me, guys. If you did like this video, please leave a like, subscribe if you want more, and hit the notification bell if you want to know when I upload next. As for me, this is Lucas signing off for the EVSG podcast, and I'll see you next time.